Not to be mysterious.
I think it's just terrible.
Juicy. 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 Got the first line, that's what I'm doing this. Oh, hear ye, these simpering verses of suburban sensibility, this vile creature, a perverted poet peppering the page with poisonous intent, and a fey wave of the wrist as if tossing off yet another sordid poem like it means nothing, this loathsome lurker in life's margins. My name is Robert Garnham.
Hey!
And welcome to Juicy. Thank you so much for coming here to the Blue Walnut tonight to make me do a little Edinburgh preview of my show Juicy. So yeah, anyway, I suppose I better tell you a bit about myself, seeing as though I'm here. And I mean, well, where do I start really? My father died when I was quite young. Actually, he worked in quality control in the biscuit industry and got locked in the cream cracker factory over long bank holiday weekend. He had plenty to eat, but he died of dehydration. My mother was a knit nurse, and she come in after a hard day raking knits. I suppose where I get my fascination with punctuation from. She said to me, she gave me some advice to take through life. She said, son, believe in your dreams because your dreams believe in you. My dreams were of a chipmunk flicking elastic bands at me with no help whatsoever. But, I mean, it's great to be here at this place. It's great to be here at any venue. It's great to be at fringes and festivals and things, because where I grew up we didn't have anything like this at all. I grew up in suburban Surrey, so we had to make our own entertainment. We had to, laughing at goats, or and this is a really subtle joke. We'd go into the newsagents and ask if the psychic news had come in yet. Or we'd go into the local library, which for some reason had every residential phone directory in the country, and we'd phone up people at random, but people had silly names and say things like, hello, are you a giraffe? And they'd say yes, and we'd say, is it cloudy up there? They'd say, hello, are you a pigeon? And they'd say yes, and they'd say, well, why don't you stop crapping on my mother's car? And then one day we phoned this chap, and we phoned him up and we said, hello, are you a duck? And before we could say anything, he said, look, stop it, I know it's you kids. Every 5 minutes the phone rings and I know it's someone making a crank call. You're making my life a misery. You're phoning up at all hours of the night. Don't you know, flinching every time the phone rings. And we said, sorry, Mr. Duck, we are so sorry. And he said, actually, it's Dr. Duck, or as my friends call me, the Quack. As I said, it's great to be amongst artistic people, because I have lots of artists and poets as friends. A friend of mine, for example, she's an artist, and she draws incredibly obscene pictures, very, very small, incredibly obscene pictures on the backs of people's hands. In fact, I've got one here tonight now, but I'm not going to show you because it is a bit near the knuckle.
Oh my God.
And another friend, she's an avant-garde filmmaker, and she's just made a film. Actually, it's 8 hours just of a tin of peas, and that's all the film is. And she's actually won first prize in the Cannes Film Festival.
Sounds like quite an appealing film.
But the person who most inspires me at the moment, and this is true, it's a New York drag artist called Margot Channing.
Yay!
She's amazing, and I keep phoning her up for advice all the time. I keep phoning her, but she never answers my call. All I hear is the answer machine, which for some reason is that rousing disco anthem, I've got a brand new combine harvester for Wurzels. You know, perhaps she might even ring tonight during the show. Perhaps she might even ring tonight. Perhaps she might even ring tonight. Guess what's going to happen later? So I'm just going to do a brief set of poems. Julie knows what's coming here. This is hasn't got a title yet. It's just called Poem.
Unusual.
Makes a change.
Until the day I snuff it, I'll always regret not being a lighthouse keeper, bearded or otherwise. My rock-hard, perch-bricked tower, visible from the cliffs, people pointing perky beacon-like perch-bricked tower, long and spindly, it just kind of sits there atop rocks, sturdy, rock-hard, spewing forth solid beams. Whoosh go the beams, see it rising from the spume. I hope I save some seamen tonight. Many a sailor has personally thanked me when the waves are crashing, having been saved from oblivion by the sight of me flashing. I blow my own foghorn. Sailors pop round my lonely pile and fly the Jolly Roger. My rock-hard, concrete-based, proud, erect ribs shaft architecture, he knows it's a bit phallic. Imagine it perpendicular, made out with Andy, right next to the lens, and the revolving mirrors came on as we effected the most primal display, unwittingly beamed live onto the white cliffs of Dover. Well, there's another one ticked off my bucket list. Rock hard, rocket light, hollow tube, quite impressive, so big you need a helicopter to land on it. Painted blue and white to warn bulk carriers, precarious on a reef so treacherous it could sink a frigate. Would you like me to take you up my spiral staircase? Up and up and up and up. Some get dizzy and most get sick. And when you get to the top, ooh, it's a long way down. Ooh, I can't bear to look. I'll ask, do you like my cardigan? Do you like my beard? Do you like my lamb chop sideburns? You're a long way from the mainland, Mrs. Henderson. Ooh, it's a long way down. Once there was a wave so big, an octopus, got stuck to the glass, slowly oozed down the window. It put me off the thing I was doing. Crazy, colossal, column, creepy, clammy corridors, corroded catacombs, cumbersome, coastal, computer-controlled, clammy castle of consternation covered in crabs, its constant cursed companion and its continuous castaway contemplating copulation. All day I've spent polishing the mirrors, working my fingers to the bone. My aunt was apt to remark that it looked like a sausage, and I suppose it does, though I often liken it to a chunky Swiss roll, the kind you get in Asda. Quite a head for heights to operate at the very tip of it. You put on a long coat, and you walk into the National Trust shop purchasing a lighthouse. The man behind the counter gives you a knowing wink. And that was for Julie Martin. This one's for Paul Mortimer. It's called Poem.
Wow.
The buzzard is asleep. Shh, shh, shh. The buzzard is asleep, dreaming buzzard dreams. See its feathers, see its beak. Shh, shh, shh. See its feathers, oh so sleek, tender, like those of a chicken. Oh, buzzard, saintly buzzard, mighty buzzard, kestrel-like, buzzard. I wish I was audacious as a buzzard. I also wish I had more prominent cheekbones. I said to my niece, I wish I was a buzzard, and she said, that's a bit random, isn't it? The buzzard is asleep. Shh, shh, shh. The buzzard is asleep. Actually, it might be a cormorant. And this is a fairly new one, but it's called Poem.
See, there's a pattern here.
If I could have just one wish, I'd like to be a jellyfish, hanging in the water, stinging those who really ought to know not to swim near me. A jellyfish, 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 jellyfish. If I could be a sushi dish, I think I'd be a jellyfish, drizzled lightly with balsamic. Tastes so good, it's orgiastic. Jellyfish, 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 jellyfish. My friend Pete, who says things and leaves gaps of 23.5 seconds, said, you flobble and you wobble as you come down the stairs. You look just like a... Jellyfish, 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 jellyfish. Thank you.
I'm ready because it loud.
Guess what's happening now?
Oh, wow! What a transformation. Oh, God. No, not there. It's this.
One of my ambitions and one of the reasons I'm in Croydon Tourist Office is that I want to have a hit single, and ladies and gentlemen, I think I've got it.
Oops. Is it called Poem?
It's a good song. Oh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I want to live in a little house somewhere in the park. I'd have to light lots of candles whenever it gets dark. I'd buy myself a little dog just to hear it bark. I'd invent a grammar and a punctuation mark. Tilly-on, pom, pom, tilly-on, pom, pom. And as the winter splinters in, I'd have to light the fire. I'd collect lots of ornaments and things that I admire. I know it's not the sort of life to which you might aspire. It would be just like a church except without the spire or the monotheistic deity. Tilly-on, pom, pom. As the wind spit, have I done that verse?
Yeah, just did it.
And I would write such poetry, making sure it rhymed, and I would use a stopwatch just to check its pace. It would be a fantasy away from the daily grind. I'd have to cuddle the handyman, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Tiddly-om, pom, pom, tiddly-om, pom, pom. And did I mention the handyman? We cuddle up in bed. Such a randy handyman, I keep him in the shed. And every time I was up for it, oh Fred, I call oh Fred. Although his name was actually Mark, at least he is good. Tiddly-om, tiddly-om, bum, bum. It doesn't matter what you do, our lives are meaningless. Now but crushing oblivion and eternal hopelessness. A never-ending loneliness and doubt and angst and hatred. An eternal dichotomy between selfhood and the final and crushing truth. Nobody has ever cared for you in the slightest.
Oh.
Tiddly-om. Tiddly-om. Thank you very much. So I was really worried about performing today. In fact, I couldn't sleep much over the last few days. And in fact, I get insomnia quite a lot. It's really horrible experience, insomnia. But on the bright side, only 3 more sleeps till Christmas. So what I do when I get insomnia is I write myself little poems at night, so that when I wake up the next morning, they're like a little gift to myself from the night. And I usually got them here. I mean, I'm sure all the poets here do it actually. You write them in night, and then you staple them to honey-coated peanut packets. Put them in your pocket. Oh, here's one. Oh, this is from last night, actually. My good friend Ben Brazier has got a job as a glazier. His favourite holiday destination is Malaysia. His favourite TV show is Frasier. His favourite character in Dad's Army is Frasier. His favourite Disney cartoon is Fantasia. He recently won £5 on a scratch card. But they're not all classics, obviously. Okay, so sometimes you look at the world and you realise that there are places in the world where things are much worse off than they are. Metal ice tiger. Scratchy comes of frost, crystal pure and pristine. Just come take that. Parker hood fur imitating short panic drafts, gasps, breathe in, breathe out. Young eyes scanning a blank horizon from this rocky shoreline. You can hear the ice floes groan as if giving voice to the otherwise unspeakable. A permanent murmur, a whisper of nothingness. Oh, brazen child of the north, whose urges claim non-existent victims, obvious selfhood, shunned by Inuit elders who profess to know more the secrets of those creatures that surface occasionally, spears thrown, blubber sawn in the freezing salt air than the workings of the human heart. No myth, no knowledge, no tribal throat songs, no precedents, no warmth, the sun barely able to lift its head above a frozen sea which creeps and groans, Ice mountains loom and pass so silent after dark. Ghost ships, lost dreams, phosphorus, a slip of history, a mistake of biology and a land of forgetting, and each withered soul a fortress of freezing. How low can the body's temperature fall before a glimpse of truth or promise is extinguished, or else subsumed beneath the tedium of life's great calamities? Desire, lust, forbidden imaginings, masculine flesh. This is called steadfast. Imagine a prison, impossible to break from, yet without physical form. Invisible walls built not of pain, but of brick, but of pain. Notions, expectations, life ruined by the abstract. There are others of your kind, unseen in their struggle, but the very nature of your unique and sublime imprisonment blinds you to them. Rather than fight, they lie, or else ignore the obvious, face sweating behind bitter masks. Those who are fortunate fill you with anger. Their love is nothing but luck, and how lucky they love. Another bead of sweat rolls beneath your jaded caricature. They're so immature. You dance in your mind, rhythms so sensual, pounding parties, silly rhythms, inexplicable suns shining, smiling, fresh-faced rhythms, incomprehensible that fact should swamp denial. Go on, dance, let yourself go in a way that shouldn't be, disco lights flashing almost unbelievable as you submit to the bounty of freedom, sugar flip, heart thumping, moving fingers across the forbidden, and not 1 ounce of tired regret. Just don't open your eyes. Steadfast in your culture. Grey tomb of the senses, flesh unblemished by the whip crack, absolute devotion to the ether, shouting loudest through sheer pride. You've got to do what's right. You've got to do what's right. Imagine a prison, impossible to break from, not one, but many, as many prisons as there are poets, and in some places more than others, from which only a lucky few have ever survived. And this is called The Doors. For those who are the exquisite, hidden in cupboards. For those who fortune denies because they refuse to shout. For those who would otherwise shine so bright were it not so dark and needlessly so. For those who are more conscious than the jaded so-called moral imperative. For those who multicolour the beige. For those who feel that burning, pounding, quick tempo heartbeat, tick, tick, ticking absolute proof down deep within. For those who don't want to upset anyone. For those who are being true to themselves. For those who love. For those who would dearly like to love but never will so long as they're fumbling in the dark. For those who would spread compassion if given the chance. For those who stand tall and proud in the face of ignorance. For those who challenge the invented with the blinding torch of truth. For those who caress and whisper sweet nothings and open their eyes to find an empty bed. For those who don't want to shock and close the door voluntarily. For those who care too much. For those who feel they have no brothers or sisters. For those who feel they are the only person ever to feel this way. For those who make 1,000 tiny differences a year. For those whose revolution would knowingly take longer than their own lifetimes. For those who would otherwise be flogged or hanged or stoned or cast from the safety of decent thought by those who profess to know the truth of words written yet deliberately twisted ambiguous in order to hide the cultural anger seething beneath. For those who delete their browsing history. For those who try to prise open the door knowing it will be slammed shut but keep on trying nonetheless. For those who paid the ultimate price. For those who resort to secret languages and those who give in and try to decipher filled with the eager promise of just knowing. For those who are afraid. For those who never will, for those who see the world quivering ecstatic and reach out with trembling fingertips, ever so eager to be a part, yet knowing deep down they never will, because they are not brave or as fortunate as those who colour the world with love. For those who hide behind masks of dubious preferences just to make it look like they're one of the crowd. For those who are furious, for those who are curious, for those who log on with an alias. For those who dance ecstatic, the most writhing, sexual, beautiful, hypnotic dance, but only to themselves, alone in the mirror. For those who feel that everything is hopeless, faced with 96% against, newspaper editorials, fuming, spitting evangelists, political bullies, idiots with guns and clubs and religious texts, charismatic spirituality, cultural commentators and peddlers of hatred. For those who burst out so fast the world never could catch them. For those who burnt up too soon. For those who took a chance and flowered briefly then disappeared with the hint that if done differently it might actually work. For those who are vehement in their love. For those who are just plain unlucky. For those who are scared. For those who are scarred. For those who are sacred. You are the real. And your time will come when superstition loses and common sense takes over. Pile up your love right now, so when the door finally opens, it will all come crashing through. Thank you. And this is called Mr. Juicy.
Oh, nice one, Mr. Juicy.
British Falcon Flight 7633 to Norwich, now boarding at gate 6B. This is the first call for British Falcon Flight 7633 to Norwich, now boarding at gate 6B. Thank you. Good passenger Mr. Mozzarella, travelling with Air Italy to the Po Valley, please make himself known to a representative of his airline. Cocksparrow Airlines Flight 133 to Exeter, now boarding at gate 6A. This is the first call for Cocksparrow Airlines Flight 133 to Exeter, now boarding at gate 6A. Thank you. I called him Mr. Juicy. I met him at the gate of an airport departure lounge. He was flying to Norwich, I was flying to Exeter. Our planes were delayed because a fuel transporter had broken down diagonally across gate 6A and 6B. Nobody could move it. The two of us, me and Mr. Juicy, we looked out the terminal plate glass window. He asked if I had a dry wipe marker. Why? I asked. So I can go in the toilets, he said. Add my initials to the hourly hygiene checklist. You know, just for a laugh. No sign of any movement on the apron. Men in high-vis jackets stand around, dumbfounded. Mr. Juicy, all grins, sits across two soft-cushioned seats. I sit opposite from him and he watches as I stare at the floor. What are you doing? He asked. I'm looking at a small dot, part of the fleck effect of the tiled floor, concentrating on this insignificant dot. Soon I'll be hundreds of miles away, and the chance of seeing this tiny dot again would be very small indeed. You're weird, he said. But I like you. And I liked him.
Oh.
You know what it's like? Heavenly dreams and bright, bright lights and angels singing so resplendent in rapturous ecstasy. That's me, gate 6B, Manchester Airport, Terminal 3. So stunning was he that I quite forgot that I needed a wee. What right have you to be so cute? If you're the thief, my heart's the loot. You grabbed it out from inside me right here, right now at Terminal 3. And I was here just minding mine and thinking I was doing fine when you wrecked my day, you know, and all because I find you so very cute and visually the sort of man who appeals to me. And now you go and shatter me with your masculinity. I find it hard to understand that I should fall for every man. You do it to me purposely, and that just makes it worse, you see. To sit right here and contemplate on how to ask you on a date, the subtle blend of dream and fate straight right here, right now at the terminal gate. I think that I've just lost my mind. I think that I've just lost my mind. I think that I've just lost my mind. I think that I've just lost my boarding card. No, wait. It's in my pocket.
British Falcon 7633 to Norwich and Cock Sparrows International Flight 133 to Exeter, currently awaiting boarding at gate 6A and 6B. This is due to operational difficulties.
The driver of the stranded fuel transporter hops down from his cab, lands awkwardly and sprains his ankle.
Good passenger, Mr. Mozzarella, please make yourself known to the Air Italy information desk, located in the main terminal building next to the Wetherspoons pub.
I tried to not look over at Mr. Juicy too much. I didn't want him to think that I fancied him. I wanted him to know that I fancied him. Open, pleasant face and long legs. See them draped over the chair next to him. Body-hugging white t-shirt, purposely unkempt hair, a faint trace of stubble. A ruffian with the soul of a poet who's just captured the soul of a poet. He said, I watched that DVD the other night, you know the one, the never-ending story, but I'm thinking of suing the film company because it was only on for 118 minutes. And another thing, how come the logo for Universal Pictures is just of planet Earth? And how come the Three Musketeers are called the Three Musketeers when there's four of them and they don't use muskets? I smile and laugh. I want him to know that I'm, you know, not necessarily heterosexually configured, but don't want to go too over the top. You're so perfect, Mr. Juicy, perfect, Mr. Juicy, perfect nose and perfect limbs, perfect eyebrow, perfect skin, perfect, Mr. Juicy, I want to be with you, see? You're so perfect, Mr. Juicy, such a cutie, masculine beauty. You're so perfect, Mr. Juicy, how we love random chance, births and deaths and circumstances, endless dance of evolution. Mr. Juicy, I want to be with you, see? Mr. Juicy tells me about his mother. She works at an old folks' home, he said, in the kitchens. They have to perform miracles. They're given a chicken and told to feed 30 residents with it. Reses, as those in the business call them. If someone was not expected to live beyond the next evening, then their last meal would be rice pudding. Oh, the solemn walk of death, carrying a solitary rice pudding from the kitchen through the dining room, and all the reses wondering who it was going to be presented with. Oh, poor Ethel. Ethel looks down sadly at her rice pudding. Her whole life has led to this.
This is another call for Mr. Mozzarella. Mr. Mozzarella, please make yourself known to the Air Italy officials. The manager is waiting to hear from you. The head honcho, the big cheese.
I like your body-hugging white t-shirt, I tell him. Thanks, he replied. Very fashionable, I continue. I'd have one too, but there are certain bodies which, you know, don't look good hugged. I'm supposed to agree. Everyone deserves a cuddle now and then, he said. Oh my goodness, but like an idiot I say nothing, and then when I do I change the subject. At school we had some weird fashions. It was trendy in year 8 to have a tin of mackerel fillets in your shirt pocket. Nobody unless you had a tin of mackerel fillets in your shirt pocket, and the teachers would confiscate them. They always looked so healthy, our teachers. Must have been all that omega-3. And the poor kids, bless them, they come in with these Tesco's own brand mackerel fillets and they rambling. Everyone deserves a cuddle now and then. That's what he'd said. Or did I imagine it? He says, "My best friend is an astronomer. He's been tracking a supermassive black hole these last few years, using mathematics and pure science to work out its behaviour. He's calculated that a star 15 times the size of our sun is heading straight towards it. Can you imagine this supermassive black hole and this giant star?" So I said to him, "What's going to happen to the star?" And he said, "It will just turn a slightly different shade of red." "If the ultimate state of the universe is chaos," I say to him, "then that makes me feel better about the cupboard under the stairs." Everyone deserves a cuddle now and then. I say to him, "I'm really worried that one day I'll slice a loaf of bread and accidentally split the atom."
Ladies and gentlemen, once again we apologise for the delay at gates 6A and 6B. The operating difficulties are ongoing.
Mr. Juicy smiles, leans back his head and closes his eyes. The sun comes out and lightly caresses his face. He looks so pure. Unblemished by life, unworried by the immediate, unhurried, unsullied, unruffled. Unfazed by the obvious, unmoved by the oblivious, unabashed, unapologetic, unholy. Unmasked by circumstance, undressed by my imagination, untainted, unfettered, unforgettable. Pure. He's so pure, he's so pure, he's so very, very pure, and I want to see much more of this man who is so pure. He's so cute, such a brute, life with him would be a hoot, and I'm sure that I would suit being with someone so cute. He's a dream, such a dream, he's the best I've ever seen. He'd be really quite obscene, if you know just what I mean. Pure as a summer rose ensconced in morning dew, pure as the mountain air after a thunderstorm's been through, pure as linen sheets which are totally brand new, pure as a particularly pious kangaroo. He's so lush, really lush, I bet I could make him blush, and he'd turn my heart to slush. This is more than just a crush, probably. Work of art, got my heart, I bet he doesn't even fart. And if he does, his friends remark, "Say, did he just get purer in here?" He's so pure, he's so pure, he's so very, very pure, and I want to see much more of this man who is so pure. Mr. Mozzarella. Mr. Mozzarella. Where am I? He fell asleep, Mr. Juicy says. Great, I can now tell people I've actually slept with him. What's the latest? They've stretchered the driver away. Now they're trying to move the fuel transporter. Some fuel spilled out and they're trying to mop it up. I tell her that just before my mother was born, the cleaner came in the hospital room, wrung the mop head out of the window, and the head fell off. How's that for an omen? What right has he to be so cautious? It's a true story. What has he ever done to deserve it? Why not me? Why not everyone who's gazed in the mirror, felt naught inside but pale horror, wanted to change the world, wanted to be loved? I'm attracted to him so much that I almost hate him. With his witty conversation and his affected nonchalance, he chats to me not that he enjoys the fact of my existence or that he wishes to impress me, but merely because it is so easy for him. I mean nothing. I'm a momentary distraction. He's got a nice arse. In half an hour's time, he'll forget I ever existed. In half an hour, I'll be thinking of lost opportunities.
lost opportunities. Hold on to him. Memorize his face.
Oh.
Memorize his face, because you'll forget it quickly. Massive disappointment. This is the final call for massive disappointment.
Can you imagine what it would be like? I mean, the pressure to be constantly amusing me and him together forever, going through each day looking for anecdotes. Something happens and you think, oh good, some new material. I can't wait to tell... Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't even know his name.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience.
Comes the voice of doom, signalling the end of a romance.
We're about to begin boarding flights 7633 to Norwich and 133 to Exeter at gates 6A and 6B.
Where the future will dissolve and crumble like an overcooked meringue.
Please have your passport and boarding card ready for inspection.
That's us, he says. I know, I reply. We're on different planes, I point out. 2 parallel queues start to form at gate 6A and 6B. He gathers his belongings. It's been nice talking to you, I tell him. Yeah, he says. Yeah. 2 queues in tandem shuffling forwards and I feel sick inside. Incapable of telling him and stunted by social constrictions that stand in the way of us and a lifetime together. But I'd hate it. 2 queues shuffling forwards. Is it not better, I tell myself, to let it be, to preserve it as the most perfect moment of all, a love so deep that none was ever shared? 2 queues shuffling forwards. He's there at the corner of my eye and I'll never see him again. To know more now would spoil it forever. 2 queues shuffling forwards. The skies await and with them all is gone. Bye, he says, smiling. His queue is moving faster. I'm momentarily distracted by a kerfuffle ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Mozzarella, the attendant says. This isn't your flight. Exeter, Mr. Mozzarella. No, not the Po Valley. Exeter. It holds up the queue. I decide to look as amorous, as tempting and as sexual and as handsome and as manly as I can, which should be really quite easy for someone so masculine and trim as me. But it doesn't work, so I try to look casual and nonchalant and only succeeding tripping over someone's suitcase. And as I'm picking myself up from the suitcase, I step on the base of a security notice which wicks up and whacks me in the groin. But it doesn't matter, nothing matters now except the need of some kind of recognition, some kind of look, some kind of physical proximity of the most base kind, almost jumping up and down now in the queue. But he's gone, he's gone, he's gone, and the rather annoyed lady next to me points out that I'm standing on a packet of hobnobs. He's gone. Mr. Juicy has gone. Through the gate and off to his plane, and things will never be the same. It takes an age to sort out Mr. Mozzarella. I trudge across the lonely, windswept apron, giddy on more than just aviation diesel. Up the steps of our Exeter-bound plane I pause, briefly, looking back at the terminal building, hoping he's there, hoping he might be waving, or even running across the tarmac towards me, but he isn't. He meant so much, and I meant nothing to him. The wind ruffles my hair. How transitory this life we live with its fleeting moments. I'll never find anyone else like him. There were nights when I was so lonely it seemed the night itself were a million fingers pointed away from me. My existence so baseless as to be hardly worth the breath, each moment a death. I will survive this. As long before I found my own solidity that the love I had inside of me I should share should still be there. How many others will disappear? Chance encounters and momentary infatuations, squandered beauty and sheer miscalculations, misread signals and an immobility deep set within that I should live to love, rather than love itself and forever remain hopelessly lonely.
said you made a complete idiot of yourself. When has that ever mattered? You did the right thing. You should have just left him alone and not got your hopes up. He only wanted to pass the time. Within a few minutes, he would have completely forgotten all about you. You did the right thing.
You know what? I've been through tougher than this and I've always survived. Just poured myself a martini and come out tops. Sometimes life offers you a bucket of kippers when all you want is a squid. Don't fretting. Love will come soon enough, so don't you worry about me. I'm doing just fine.
Good morning, sir. Welcome aboard. My name is Josh. I look up. It's the most gorgeous cabin attendant I've ever seen. Thank you very much.